All right, everybody. I think we're ready to go. So welcome, everybody. My name is Jason Schrimmel. I'm the Vice President for Athlete Leadership. As you know, we're going to talk a little bit baseball tonight. But before we start, I just wanted to ask that we keep the conversation limited to the topic that our speaker will talk about. We're not going to bring up cancellation of games. We're not going to do any speculation on the season, anything like that. We want to stay away from that. All right. It's a very fluid situation right now, and there's no answers that can be given tonight. So I just want to make sure that we keep kind of in that direction. So having said that, we're thrilled to be continuing our social club series tonight with Nicole Sherry, Director of Field Operations for the Baltimore Orioles. Nicole Sherry begins her 13th season as the Orioles head groundskeeper and her 16th season with the Orioles organization overall. From 2001 to 2003, she served as the Orioles assistant head groundskeeper before spending 3 seasons, 2004 to 2006, with the Double-A Trenton Thunder. Those of you who went to USA games maybe remember Trenton. I think some of you went to a ball game there. She returned to the Orioles organization in November of 2006, becoming just the second woman ever to serve as a head groundskeeper with a major league team. Sherry and Heather Nebazani, who has been with the Detroit Tigers since 1999, are the only female head groundskeepers in the Major League Baseball. According to the Sports Turf Managers Association, there have been approximately 10 women who have held the position of head groundskeeper in the history of professional baseball. So we are in elite company tonight. That's really great. Sherry was the first female head groundskeeper in Eastern League history when she was named to that post for the Trenton Thunder in February of 2004. Twice was runner-up for the Eastern League's top groundskeeping award. In 2006, the Thunder honored her with a bobblehead depicting her riding on a tractor. Is that part of the presentation tonight, Sherry?
No, I can show you it. I'll bring it out. Let me go get it.
A native of Newcastle, Delaware, Sherry graduated from the University of Delaware with a degree in agriculture. She worked for several golf courses in Delaware and with the University of Delaware's Research and Education Center, testing new herbicides, prior to joining the Orioles in 2001 as the assistant head groundskeeper. Sherry resides in Eldersburg, Maryland, with her son Tyson. So before we meet Nicole Sherry formally, thought it would be a good idea to show a short video about her. There's a nice piece that's been done, and the video will just be just over 5 minutes, I think, and then we'll pick it up live after that. So let me get that kind of queued up. And let's do it this way. Oh, there we go. We're going to share screen. And then we're going to go there. And let me know if we can hear this. Is that working out?
When I was doing my internship here, the head groundskeeper at the time told me that there was only one woman that has the head groundskeeper job in Major League Baseball. At that moment, I said to myself that I was going to be the second. My name is Nicole Sherry. I'm the head groundskeeper for the Baltimore Orioles, and this is how I work. We are at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, home of the Baltimore Orioles. This is the crown jewel of Baltimore City.
All right, come over, match up. Good, good, good.
As head groundskeeper, my job is to oversee the playability and aesthetics of the playing field. When we talk about playability of the field, we're talking about how an athlete can perform his or her job on that field. There are 81 home games, and I want them to show up knowing that it's perfect. You know, every blade of grass has to be absolutely perfect. Every part of that infield skin or dirt has to be groomed. Every angle, every edge has to be precise. Every sunflower seed picked up, because if we let those little things go, then everything else will kind of unravel as well. A lot of people see that we're out here mowing grass, raking dirt, but science is a major part of my job. Turfgrass science, agriculture, horticulture, entomology, meteorology. The biggest challenge day to day is the weather. You want to make every effort to play that game every single night. You have a lot riding on that game. You have a fan base that comes to see the game. You have TV, you have advertising, you have concessions. My job is to monitor the weather. I need to keep everybody as updated as possible so we can prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Take it all the way to the wall and hustle back. Wall and hustle back. Let's go. Come on.
So just to be safe, I canceled batting practice for both teams and put the tarp on, and we ended up just getting a really nice light shower. I am lucky to have this position here with the Orioles. It's very hard to become a head groundskeeper in the major leagues because not only is it one of 30 jobs, once somebody gets a position in Major League Baseball, it's very rare that they leave to move on to another career. Out of those 30 people, there are only 2 women who have the role of head groundskeeper, myself and Heather Nabosny, who is the head groundskeeper for the Detroit Tigers. That's 2 women ever to have this position in Major League Baseball history. To get to the big leagues, you have to work through the ranks, from internship to an assistant to head groundskeeper in minor leagues to eventually head groundskeeper. Basically, I took the same steps that a major league athlete would take. In 11 seasons as head groundskeeper, I've never had to take a sick day. It's physically demanding. You know, you're out there in the heat, you're actually doing physical labor. We're there for sometimes 13 hours straight for 10 days in a row. I mean, I'd be a fool not to think that, you know, the perception of a woman in a quote unquote male dominated field, you know, you have so many stereotypes to break through. You constantly have to prove yourself day in, day out. The 30 minutes right before a game actually starts is probably the most hectic part of the day. You have 30 people going all at once. They're putting down the lines. The batter's box are in. Is it straight? Are the foul lines straight? Is the watering of the dirt, is it too heavy? Is it not heavy enough? How's it feel under your feet? But at the same time as everything else is going on, they're doing ceremonial first pitches. Guys are warming up in the outfield. You have possibly clouds that just rolled over the stadium, so you have to always adjust. My mind goes like a hamster wheel while I'm just standing there watering the dirt, and I look like I'm just in a Zen moment. So I'm just trying to make sure that everything is falling into place the way it is. I walk past a ton of little girls in those stands, and they're like, oh, there's a girl, and they point to me, and I'm like, yep. And I want them to see me out there because I want them to see me doing the exact same thing that all these guys are doing. And then when they find out that I am the leader of the crew, that makes it become more normal. It's a grind, and it's not for just everybody. You have to have a certain kind of, passion, and you're crazy to have a job like this and still love it. Doesn't matter what time the game is. As soon as that game is over, we're out there for at least an hour trying to get the field in shape to start our day again. I feel like I'm a member of this team because there are days where we work nonstop. We don't get a break. We don't get sleep. And we put our blood, sweat, and tears out there into every ounce of that field. We want to make sure that they play on a perfect field at all times. And then when they win, we win.
All right, here, just find my screen. Where'd it go? All right. So, Nicole Sherry, welcome to Special Olympics Maryland Social Club. We appreciate that you're here tonight. Excited to have you here, that you could join us. And I'm just going to turn the rest over to you at this stage.
Great, thank you. Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to be here to talk to you and see your faces. This is such a cool way of presenting, because if I could, I'd be there in person with everybody, but unfortunately we can't. So I put together just a little bit of a PowerPoint, and then I'm gonna take questions from you if you have any. And I love talking about everything baseball, everything groundskeeper related, so don't hold back with any questions. but I'm gonna go through a little PowerPoint slide, and then you get a little deeper look into what I do on a daily basis and some interesting facts about the science part of turf. So let me pull up my shared screen and see if I can do this. Can you guys see that?
Yep, there it is.
I need to go back to the beginning though. Okay, so it says, I'm gonna take you guys off my video. It says Oriole Park at Camden Yards, home of your Baltimore Orioles, the best team in baseball. And I am the Director of Field Operations, also known as the Head Groundskeeper. So my job is really to take care of that beautiful grass that you see out there, and also make sure that the infield dirt surfaces are, you know, perfect for the athletes, like you saw in the video. How do I get to, I'm new at this, guys, so hold on. How do I change the slide? Yikes. Oh, there, just scroll. So there's, so I work in field maintenance. I went to school for agriculture. I studied turfgrass science at the University of Delaware and a few other community colleges along the way. But mainly my job is to maintain the grass. And there are 5 key goals to taking care of the grass field at Camden Yards. We have to cut the grass on a daily basis, so we cut it 2 times a day. We provide adequate water for survival, and we give the grass the proper nutrients that it needs to get through any bad days. So just like you may take vitamins or eat healthy, I have to feed that grass the proper things that makes it healthy and avoids getting sick sometimes. So, and then I ensure that the Oriole players have a safe field to win games on. And the #1 part of my job is to make it look beautiful for all of our fans. So here's a part of our field. It's about 2 acres of turf. Turf is also known as grass, and it's 100% Kentucky bluegrass. So we cut the grass every day in 2 different directions, and we also have to take care of that infield dirt surface like you see there. So sometimes I have to work starting at maybe like 8:30, 9 in the morning, and then my crew doesn't get done working until maybe around 11 o'clock at night. So it's a very long day, but that's on a day when the Oriole players are gonna come out on the field maybe around 2 o'clock in the afternoon and start practicing and taking care of what they need to take care of. Also, so from this point of view, you can see the chalk lines are down, there's coaches' boxes that are in, the people standing at home plate are the umpires for the game, and then the athletes are on the field, just like you guys take the field. And then we have the anthem singers. So I had to have the field all ready in shape before those ceremonies take place. I like dirt, and I like it a lot. I don't know if anybody else on the call likes messing around with dirt, but I really do enjoy it. And caring for our dirt is very important. So we go out there and water the dirt 15 to 20 times a day when the team is in town. So we keep that dirt as soft as possible because we want that baseball to hop into that player's glove as easy as possible so they can make a play, and hopefully the Orioles can get an out on the field and we can get right back up to bat so we can win a game. And then the players also like sliding on softer dirt, right? Because hard dirt hurts their bodies. Yes. Okay, you see the big giant warehouse in the background of this photo? That's what our goal is every day, to match our infield dirt to that warehouse. So we blend 3 different colors of tan, red, and dark brown dirt to put on top of that infield dirt area so that the players can slide on it, but also when you all come to visit the ballpark, everything kind of matches up. So it's more of an aesthetic point of view, and that's why Oriole Park at Camden Yards is one of the most beautiful ballparks, because we take a lot of time and care to make everything look as perfect as possible. Our ballpark is 28 years old this year, so, and it doesn't look like it. It looks really good. And then I love grass. I said I like grass here, but I really love grass. The grass is cut in 2 different directions to make sure it's perfectly cut. And the grass is inspected daily to make sure there are no weeds or nasty bugs chewing up our grass. And then I use science on a daily basis to care for the grass. and make sure the grass has all the vitamins it needs to have healthy roots. And then strong roots help our ball players make a fabulous play on the field and in the outfield. So if you all remember Adam Jones and all the other great Orioles, when they're running across that outfield grass, they're heavy and they're strong, and they need a strong surface, a grass surface with strong roots, so they can get to that ball in time and make a fabulous play. A lot of people ask me about the patterns of the field. So the patterns that you see on the grass are caused by mowing in two different directions. You can see on your screen there's a light stripe of grass, and then there's a dark stripe of grass. When you cut in two different directions, that's the striping that it creates. So if you see the light stripe, that means I'm sitting on a mower and I'm going towards the outfield wall, and coming back, it creates a dark stripe if I'm on a mower. So, and that's how we can make really fun patterns in the outfield, and you can do that at home too. If you cut your grass, you can make different stripes by just walking in different directions of your yard. All right, there's some nasty bugs that we find in our grass, and this is a yucky bug that chews on the roots of our turf grass, and it's pretty bad because if they chew up all the roots, then the athletes wouldn't be able to have good footing on the field. And then when this bug grows up, it's going to become a Japanese beetle. So how do I know that? Well, it's pretty gross, but in my schooling, I studied a lot of insects. And you can tell that this is going to be a Japanese beetle because it has a pattern of hair on its butt that you have to kind of look at and decide what it's going to be. It's pretty gross. And that's about 2 inches. So that's a really nasty grub that's in the field. And then here you can see an up close photo of our roots. See those healthy roots that are hanging down from that grass plant? Those are getting all the nutrients that it needs to survive. Water and oxygen is big for root growth, and also the sunlight is really important for our grass to have a healthy outcome. And I sometimes like the weather. There's a lot of weather in my job, dealing with the heat, rain, sometimes snow. It's really a challenge because with weather, you don't know what's really going to happen. Somebody's going to tell you that it might rain that day, but I have to watch the weather and the radar to make sure I can see if there are any storms coming over the ballpark. Rain and sunshine are very important for grass and its growth. And then sometimes big rainstorms happen. And when they do, our players may not be able to play the game. So that's my job, to go out there and alert the Orioles team about what's going to happen that day, if there's any rain coming out, because no one likes to be involved in any kind of rain situations if you're playing a baseball game. They're going to cancel the game probably because the infield dirt can get too soft and could risk a player to get hurt. So that's when my crew and myself pull out that really big tarp and cover the field if there's any rain coming. And this is what it looks like where I'm watching the radar. So you can see the B in Baltimore. That's exactly where the ballpark is on the radar. And here, there's a storm out to our west, and there's a storm that's right over the bay that just missed us. And we're right in this clear area in between. So we got lucky that day, but that just shows you that whenever we're playing a game, I have to watch out for these kinds of storms that are just really dangerous and could hit the ballpark at any time. And look at that. That's a big lightning bolt that was right outside of our ballpark, and it's kind of crazy that we got that on a photo, but that's how big that lightning bolt was. And it's pretty scary when you're out there and you have fans in the stands, you have athletes on the field playing, and then you see that, and then my crew and myself have to be out there during that storm to run a tarp on the field. And so every 8 to 10 years, it's time to get a new grass field. So sometimes grass reaches the end of its life cycle, and we have to get a whole new grass field to start over again to take care of. It's like getting baby grass. New grass is going to allow the field to drain better after a big rain or a heavy thunderstorm. And turf scientists work very hard to develop grasses that have superpowers to withstand heat, drought, and disease. And it's really cool if you think about grass every day. all the things that it goes through and how tough and resilient it is. And scientists are working very hard to develop grasses that really can change the way we maintain them. Like, we don't have to worry about watering them so much anymore with these newer genetics and newer DNA that come out that these scientists are trying to raise. And then new durable grasses species allow us to save our precious resources, like I said, water, and then it also helps us reduce the amount of chemicals we put on the field. So every 8 to 10 years, we'll get new grass that's even better than the one that was there before. And this is me. I took a trip to a farm of grass, and I was able to pick out which kind of grass I wanted to put onto the Camden Yards field. And this is 100% Kentucky bluegrass, and this is about 100+ acres of beautiful grass that I got to go and choose which 2 acres we were going to bring home and put on Camden Yards field. And then this is what our field looks like on the infield, and in the outfield area when there's no grass, it's all sand, about 12 inches of sand like you would see at a beach or in a sandbox. And the sand helps our field drain about 16 inches of water in under an hour. That's almost 2 feet of water in under an hour. So we can take a lot of rain and a lot of water on our infield grass areas and in the outfield, but our infield dirt can't take too much rain. We don't want that to get too muddy. And here it is. This is a really cool photo that you don't see often. This is all sand out there on the field. So all the people were working very hard to get that sand level and riding around in their tractors, grooming it, and getting ready for our new baby grass to come in and start our field off right for the next year. And then here's our crew working hard. They're rolling out the new sod and getting ready for it to play. And we do this in the fall when the team is done for the year. And over the fall and winter, the grass grows the best, honestly. It starts growing roots, and it's getting a lot stronger and durable for those athletes to come back out there in spring for opening day, and we'll be ready to go. And I think that's about it. So, and that's what it looks like on opening day. Unfortunately, we didn't get to have that yet this year. So go O's, and we hope that everybody comes to the ballpark and you become, I become one of your, people that you cheer for now that you know a little bit more about me. So thank you, and I'm ready for any questions. How do I get this off though? Stop video. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Hold on, I lost everybody. Start video. Okay, hi. Okay. I can't hear anybody.
Thank you, Nicole. There were some questions in the chat. I'm gonna see if I can get to those first.
Okay,
Let me
go through it too.
scroll up here. Let's see.
Christopher asked if I'm a weather watcher. I sure am, all the time. Every day when I wake up and when I go to sleep.
All right. Carmen asked if what other people do you work with during your day?
During my day, I work with the general manager of our team. I work with our team manager, Brandon Hyde, all the coaches and athletes from the other team, as well as the Orioles. So we're out there on the field with everybody, all the athletes and all the media, all Jim Palmer sometimes. So it's really cool to see everybody and work with them.
Carmen also said that she can tell you're a big deal and that you're a famous person. So that's there you go.
Thanks, Carmen.
Do you know, I don't, this is not necessarily related to the field, but how many chairs are actually in the stadium? Someone asked.
Oh, yes. Oh, I had that in my notes for the slide, but I couldn't pull it open. So our field, like I said, our stadium's 28 years old, and it can seat 43,000 people. I don't know exactly how many chairs are in the ballpark, but it's a ton, and we can seat 43,000 people. So that could be in the suites and in the stands as well.
Kenny Long from Howard County asked if he can have some of your grass for his house lawn, but
well, Kenny, that's great, but Kentucky bluegrass is one of the hardest grasses to grow in our area. in mid-Atlantic region in Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. It likes temperatures 85 and under. And as you guys know, last year, sometimes we got into the high 90s and even in the hundreds, and our grass burns up. But since we, the grounds crew, are there every day to make sure it's healthy and survive, and we can take care of it. So Kenny, if you want to grow grass in your yard, tall fescue is the way to go. Tall fescue.
There you go. Good job, Kenny. Carmen was asking, do you ever make warning signs that they can't play? Or
Yeah, so I do go whenever there's any issue with the field or with rain coming. I'll make sure I tell the general manager or the manager for the Orioles that we're having some difficulties and they might not be able to play. You know, depending on the weather, if we can get through a thunderstorm or not. Sometimes storms come in, rain for about an hour and then leave. It's my job to try to time it out where athletes can get back on the field and we can play a game.
Good. Will Montague, how do you keep the weeds from growing?
Well, the weeds from growing, because we're there every day, we make healthy grass. So to keep weeds out of any yard or any lawn, you have to have a really thick stand of grass. Weeds can grow where there's a lot of voids or a lot of empty spaces in grass areas. And since our grass is so thick and taken care of and we apply the proper nutrients, we can keep weeds out. And if we see weeds, we go out there and we pick it out by the root. If you get a weed out by the roots, it won't come back.
Excellent. So, Will, that'll help you when you mow your lawn at home. Just pick the weeds up by the roots. Sam Hardwick, how long does it take you to cut the grass?
It takes about an hour and a half to do one direction, so about 3 hours total.
Excellent. And then Adam Hayes asked, what is the difference between the turf on the baseball field and the regular grass at home?
Well, the difference is that we have Kentucky bluegrass. It's a little bit more blended for athletic use. It has 4 different varieties, one for drought tolerance, one for heat, one for disease pressure, and also a variety that is football blend that makes the grass is so strong that it can withstand a 400-pound athlete running across the field and it won't tear up. So that's the difference. It's a better quality grass that's designed and encouraged by scientists to withstand athletic use.
Is the tarp heavy? Kenny wants to know.
Yes, the tarp is very heavy. When it's dry and when it's sitting there on the sideline, it's 2,000 pounds. And when we're pushing it out, it's about 16 ounces of vinyl, and it takes about 26 people to push it out in 90 seconds. And so it's very heavy.
Okay, great. When the weather hits and you have to empty the field, where do the players go?
They go into the clubhouse and enjoy food and TV while we're out on the field playing, trying to get the tarp on.
Do you ever get to take a lunch break in between when you work?
Yes, so I try to take lunch at 12 every day and eat a really good, healthy, big lunch, because that's probably about the last time I'll eat until maybe around 6 p.m. But since we're out in the heat and sweating, you guys know you're all athletes. When you're out there, you're hot and you're working hard, you get hungry quicker. So I try to eat throughout the day, small snacks and good lunch, good dinner, and definitely a great breakfast.
Great. So that's the chat room. We have some people who have their hand up, and so I'm going to unmute them and they can ask you a question directly. So
sure.
Thomas Smith, let me try and unmute you. Hold on. Lower hand. Thomas, why are you not, where'd you go? You were there, so I can't do that. I'll come back to you, Thomas. Sam, how about you? Where did you go?
Yes. Okay.
Wait,
Thomas.
Thomas is here.
Thomas is here. Go ahead, Thomas.
How many people? How many people you work with?
I work with 30 individuals, so I'm one of 30 on my crew, and we all work together on a daily basis to get the job done for our Orioles. 30 people, Thomas.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sam Livingston. Sam, you're
He's muted.
yeah, you're muted, my friend.
First things first, I wanted to thank you for doing this.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about working with the Orioles?
Well, working at the ballpark,
That's
I
what I
love
meant.
working. I love baseball, you know, so it's really cool to be a part of the team and make the field as perfect as possible. So like they can go out there and you can enjoy like these fabulous plays that you see on TV, that you see in the stands, like the players running and catching a ball over the outfield, and to know in some small way, like me and the people I work with, we had a part in that, you know? So that's
Yeah.
my favorite part, is just being out there in the warm sun and enjoying a baseball game. And the Oriole players are amazing. They're very nice and they're very humble, and that's what I like about our team as well.
Yeah, I have a buddy whose father actually played for the Orioles, actually.
Who was it?
BJ Surhoff. His son
Oh, yeah.
Mason actually does Special Olympics.
Yeah, BJ is amazing. He's such a nice person.
Great.
Jason, you can mute me.
Thanks,
Thank
Sam.
you,
I will
Sam.
mute you. All right, so I don't have any other hands up in that side, but I will go to
David.
David Godoy. And Chris Anderson. So Chris first, and then I'll go to David, and then Jacob. All right, Chris, let me get you unmuted. I'm trying to get you unmuted. Chris. Chris, can you try and hit unmute there? I'm not sure why some of these are working here. Okay, Chris,
Okay.
oh, there you go, Chris. Go ahead.
Hey, Nicole, I have a question.
Yes.
How long you work at the Camden Yards?
I have been there. I think what Jason read today is a little outdated. That's the last bio, but this year, 2020, starts my 17th year with the Orioles.
Your 17th year at the
17 years, yeah.
All right, great.
Orioles.
Thanks.
What year do you start working?
I started in 2001, and I got to witness Cal Ripken's last game ever as an athlete.
I was there for the Cal Ripken's Hall of Fame, 2007.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you, Chris. All right, David Godoy, you're up.
When you work with the players, I interacted with the players. Did you get a chance to say how I feel, how much appreciation from the players you get in
Yes.
the daily basis? Because I mean, I had by seeing on the video that I just saw, you have been doing a tremendously wonderful job to keep everybody nice and running smoothly. My second question will be, when there's the off season and you have, and the grass looks very like with no grass area, and when you get to buy the new grass, and how much is what is the best price for the grass when you get to pick up the price of the grass?
Right. Okay. So your first question, do I get to, talk to any of the players on our team or another team? Yeah, I do. They're out there working hard and training throughout the day. So there's a fine line between whether I go up to them and talk to them. But if you remember Adam Jones, he was always very supportive of our crew. Our new third baseman, Rio Ruiz, is such a sweetheart. He always says thank you to the grounds crew and the work that we do. And Buck Showalter was always somebody that would talk highly about our grounds crew. So, it looks like a lot of grunt work that we do. We do a lot of the stuff that people kind of like turn their nose up. We rake dirt and we cut grass, but anybody that knows how hard we work during the day, and those athletes, they for sure know how hard we work to make a field as great as possible. Because without us, they wouldn't be able to play the way they do. So they give us a lot of support and a lot of encouragement. Now, your second question, the last time that we put a brand new field in, it cost about $177,000 for just grass. Yeah.
Oh.
But if you think about it, okay, it costs $177,000 at that time. but it can last 10 years. So really, it's not that bad over a span of 10 years.
Do you get any like donations for the, so you can, like any donations, like support, like funding?
No, because that would come, my job is to make sure that I am telling our ownership the real reasons why we need new grass. You know, if there's something wrong with the grass, I have to do my best job to show them that this is important, that we need to pay for this now, because or else we're going to lose a lot of games due to bad footing and stuff, and we could hurt our $1 million athletes, you know? So I have to do my job to make sure they're not just going to hand me money, David, you know, and say, go buy grass. I have to make sure that it's a need for the Oriole athletes when we do that.
Great. Thank you, David. Valerie Custer, you have a question.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
I had a question. You do fireworks?
Fireworks.
Yeah.
Yes. Do I like the fireworks? No.
Yes.
No. No, they're great to look at, but my crew, we have to pick up all the firework debris. So when they crackle in the air, all that debris falls down onto the field, and we have to go and pick it all up. So that's why I don't like it.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Valerie. Carmen, I saw you had a question in the chat. Do you want to ask that live?
Yes. I remember that you worked really hard at the stadium, Miss Nicole, and all that. Have your family been friends and family been supportive of your work?
Oh, yes. So my mom and dad, and I have 2 brothers, and they love that I work for the Orioles. And I also have a little boy. He's 7 years old. His name is Tyson, and he gets to come to mommy's field and run around and play. So how cool is that, right? So we have a lot of fun. And yes, everybody, all my friends who know me, they love me and will support me in anything I do.
Great. Bailey, did you have your hand up? I saw, so I've unmuted you.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Which year did you begin?
What year did I begin?
Yes.
I began my job with the Orioles in 2001.
My grandpa is a biggest fan of
Yeah?
the Orioles. He lives in Newport News, my hometown.
Wow. That's
All right.
awesome.
Thank you, Bailey. Let me go back. So if you have a question, let me go around, put your hand up so I can see it in the screen. Oh, there we go. We're going to Alexa and Mike. Mike?
When you're pulling the tarp out for a rain delay, have you ever tripped and fallen under the tarp?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I've gotten stuck underneath the tarp, and it's scary. And you, like, it's, I can't explain to everybody like how heavy it is. It's 2,000 pounds just sitting on the sideline dry. But then when you roll it out with 30 people, and then all that rain's falling on it, like the wind's whipping up, like people literally can get lifted off the air up in the air about 4 feet, and that has happened. So yes, when we were pulling it off one time, I got stuck underneath of it, and I had to like army crawl my way out. It was pretty, it's intense. But we have a joke going with our crew that if you haven't fallen on the tarp, you haven't made it. So every single one of my crew members, as soon as they have their first fall, we all stop what we're doing and just scream and clap and make them, you know, it's embarrassing when you're running a tarp out in front of 48,000 people and somebody falls on the tarp out there and everybody laughs. So, but it's okay. We all do it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry, hold on, Alexa. I was early. All right, go.
The grass patterns, do you try to make the same pattern each time, or do you mix it up every now and then? Because I feel like I know one time we went to a game last year, and I was like, something's different. And I was looking at like the infield of it. I was like, that's a different pattern. I'm checking my Instagram. I need to go back and see if I'm going crazy here.
Yeah, make us Instagram famous for our field, okay? Yeah, we're only really allowed to put 4 different grass patterns in the field. like the Boston Red Sox, boo, anybody a Red Sox fan. They make crazy patterns in their baseball field. Sometimes they'll draw these giant socks. The New York Mets have put the entire New York City skyline in the outfield. We don't do that. We're a classic ballpark. And plus, I don't have enough time in my day to deal with that. I have too much going on. So yeah, we'll put 4 different patterns in, and we'll do one pattern for the entire length of time that they're home for that homestand that week.
Cool.
And then when they go on the road, we kind of erase the pattern, and then we'll put a new one in. So yeah, we change it up, but you probably have come to a game where, you know, when you went the first time, it was a pattern, and then the next time you came back, it was completely different.
It was a subtle difference, but I was like, there's something different here.
Yeah, sometimes we'll do a little bit of crazy stuff, but you know, we have to be careful because our owner really likes classic patterns, and sometimes I'll get a phone call and like, that's too crazy. So
yeah, I'm with you on the classic. It's beautiful.
Good. Thank you.
So, Julius, let me find Julie. Okay, I saw Julie, you have a question, Schnarf?
Oh yes. For me, I love to help. At my job, I help people, and can I help you?
Yeah. When we get started back in baseball, I'd love to have everybody come out and visit the field, and you can see it firsthand and get to see what we do. So for sure.
I love the O's.
You like the O's?
Yes.
Good. That's what we don't want any Red Sox fans. Boo.
No.
Just kidding.
I should have had a filter on for them.
I'm kidding. You can be a Red Sox fan if you want to.
All right, Jason Kaufman, you have a question?
It's Marilyn. How heavy is, once the tarp is wet and you have to roll it back up, how much heavier does it become, and how do you dry it out? Or does it just absorb?
Yeah, well, I can't tell you poundage, like how heavy it is, but it's an amazing shoulder workout of just pushing that tarp in. It's a lot, and we need at least, we can pull the tarp out with 8 people if it's dry, if we have enough time. That's going slow. That's during the day before any rain, before anybody comes to the ballpark. But it takes about 26 people, maybe 30 at times, to put it away when it's wet. After a game, we'll come in the next morning and roll the tarp back out and try to dry it out as much as possible, because our goal is that if it rainstorms during a game, we need to deploy that tarp as fast as possible, and we can get it out in 90 seconds usually. And if it's really wet, it can take up to a minute, 2 minutes, and if or more than 2 minutes. And if that rain keeps falling on that tarp, you'll see if you YouTube tarp pools, some people get it stuck where they can't get it across the infield skin. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of people to move it. So it's 16 ounces of vinyl per square foot. It's 2,000 pounds dry, so I can imagine it's double, maybe even triple that when it's wet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we're gonna go to Nate, then Danielle, and then Sam. So just guys get ready. Nate, you're up.
Hey, Nicole, thanks for doing this for our athletes. I have to imagine that occasionally you get some interesting requests from the ball players about how the field is performing. Tell us about some of those conversations and maybe an interesting request you've received from a player.
Well, you know, nothing's ever their fault. So if they have a bad game, a lot of people will come to me the next day and try to like kind of persuade it on me that it was our ground's fault that they missed a ball, or there was or they struck out. You know, you wouldn't believe, Nate, the things that I've been told. We had a lot of pitchers. The starter pitcher is the most serious, I would say, of any athlete on that field. So just an example, Jeremy Guthrie, Sidney Ponzone. This is going a little bit way back. Gosh, who was that guy that was on the team last year, got traded to the Red Sox? Kersher or he had reddish hair, goatee, I forget his name. But anyway, if the mound was not completely dry from any of those players, for any of those starters that I just mentioned, they would say that it was our fault that they had a bad game or that they got rocked with home. That's pretty much it. Brian Roberts one time said that the reason why he got tagged out at second base was because I raked the dirt in a different direction than the day before. Not because he was maybe slow that night or the catcher had a fast arm. It was because I raked the dirt in the wrong direction.
All right. Danielle Marino, you're up. Please go.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
I just saying, when should Orioles players be back during the coronavirus be done?
Say it a little bit slower.
When the baseball start again after the coronavirus be over.
I hope it starts, in the next few weeks if we could, but that's out of our hands right now. But I know that our Oriole athletes are still training and working hard and doing what they can to keep in shape during all of this, just like, we are, and staying safe. But they'll be ready to go when we see them again. I know in the media is making it out to be like, we are a last place team, but I see a lot of strength and excitement from these kids that are going to play on our team, and they're humble and they just want to get out there and play hard, and that's going to make or break us in the future. It's going to be fun to watch them for sure.
Thank you, Danielle. Sam Hardwick, you are up.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, how often do you have to cut the grass?
Yeah. So currently I'm still going into work to take care of our field. So it's ready for the guys when they come back to play. Right now we're cutting the grass every 2 days. But when it starts to warm up, like get in the 70s, maybe low 80s, we'll have to cut the grass every single day. Great. The only day off from cutting the grass will be if it's raining and we can't get out there. So almost every day, Sam.
Christine Hughes.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm from North Carolina, Special Olympics, North Carolina. But I wanted to ask, typically when someone's involved with baseball or softball, they have a love for the game. So where does your love for the game come from that wanted to make you the first female head groundskeeper?
Yeah. So when I was growing up, my dad was a coach for our Little League. And in order to, every kid loves to run the bases. And I have 2 brothers. And my dad would say to us, if we go and rake the field, we can run the bases after. So I was always one to rake the field. And then I played softball in high school and in college. And where I went to school, they had turf grass science. So that's when I found the love of, hey, I can have a job in sports and be involved in some aspect. So I love plants and I love dirt, and I just married them both together. And that's how I found my career. But I love baseball for sure.
Mike Myers, you had a little something to share, right?
I did. I thought you would find this at least interesting. When I was a young buck, I worked for the local rec and parks, and I don't know how familiar you are with Northwest Baltimore's youth baseball.
Yes.
Scene. Panamore Park was built when I was in high school.
Wow.
And that was my field, and that's where all the Baltimore Major League teams played, like from the unlimited team down to 13, 14. So Johnny's Used Cars, Reisterstown Men's League,
yeah,
Baltimore Cardinals, Eli Giants, all those teams played on my ball field. I got a phone call from sort of the mayor of Baltimore, of Reisterstown, who ran the baseball program, and said, hey, I need you to go out and rebuild the mound. Walter Yaus has a guy coming out, and there's some Oriole scouts coming, and I'm pretty sure he's going to sign tonight. So go fix the mound. So I had to rebuild the mound at Hannamore, essentially, with a shovel and a wheelbarrow. So Dave Johnson could come out and pitch on it. and
Wow.
behind the backstop in 1989, I think it was.
Yeah, that's amazing. Were you nervous that he was going to get hurt on your mound? Because that's how I am every day.
I was a little bit nervous. Only, I mean, there was guys that pitched on it every night that had, had potential or had a cup of coffee somewhere.
Right.
But that was the first time that somebody would came out to, that I knew there were going to be a shot. Like Elrod would sit on the hill and watch ball games all the time.
Right. He was great.
College scouts would come out every summer, but this was
awesome.
This was a pretty cool, intense moment.
Yeah, I bet. That's awesome.
I got a nice pat on the back and a thanks and a hat tip.
Oh yeah, that's important. The hat tip.
The hat tip was the most important because that was from Dave.
That's great. That's really great.
Thanks,
Thank you
Mike.
for sharing that.
Joe Wu, I am told you might have had your hand up. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So how long? How many you catch? How long do you catch grass? How many times?
Say it again, Joe.
How many times you catch grass?
How many times I cut the grass?
Yes.
I cut it at the ball field 2 times a day, so 2 different directions. But I cut my grass at home only once a week.
I like you see your total the lawnmower. I like that lawnmower you use.
Yes. You don't want that at your house. No.
That basic lawnmower.
Yes, really low cut grass. Yep, very short.
All right, thank you, Joe. Jason Kaufman had a question in the chat room was, what do you do with all the grass?
So we actually recycle the grass. So we have blades of grass, or sorry, not blades of grass, that's no pun, but blades on the mower that look like big giant razor blades. And they cut the grass in a really teeny tiny, almost the width of your fingernail. And it goes back into the grass on the ground, and it will decompose and give the plant more nutrients. So we recycle our grass that way, and that helps us not have to put out harmful pesticides all the time.
Great. So I'm doing one more round through our photos. Sean McCann, I'm going to unmute you.
And
Go ahead.
Jacob Hoffman's had a hi.
Oh.
Okay, actually, ask you a question.
Yes.
What's your favorite part of the job?
What's my favorite part of the job?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my favorite part of the job is raking the base paths. I know it doesn't sound too crazy, too exciting.
Adam Jones.
Yes.
Chris Davis, my favorite player.
Chris Davis is an amazing person. Yep. My favorite player is Rio Ruiz, the third baseman.
Who?
All right, thank you, Sean. All right, and let's see. I want to make sure we get everyone before we wrap up here. I think that's it in the chat. Kenny? Oh, good, thank you. Mr. Kenny, where are you? Let's go down to K. Kenny Long, unmute. You're up, Kenny.
Have you ever got hit by a ball?
Oh, yes. So I've gotten hit by the ball. So we were behind a tarp, ready for a storm coming, right? So my whole crew gets behind the tarp during the game, ready for the rainfall, and a foul ball came down and it hit me right in the stomach. And I had a bruise that was purple, like a raven, and had stitches, the stitches from the ball in my stomach for at least a week and a half. So, and that was just a foul ball. So I couldn't imagine if it was a ball that was hit by an actual, a line drive. That would be, I'd probably be gone.
Oh, all right. Jeff Abel has a question. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, so thanks for doing this. When there's a coaching staff change, how much do you have to your way of operating or kind of change your day-to-day with new coaches?
Right. So we had to go through that when Buck Showalter left the organization. So I worked with Buck for at least 5 years. And then before that, so I had some use, but everybody has their own tendencies. So last year when Brandon Hyde and the new coaching staff came in, I actually flew down to spring training
to learn about them a little bit more before they came up to play at the field. I got to know the pitching coach very well, Tim Cousins, the catching coordinator, bench coach. So a lot in the flow, our infield coordinator. So I got to talk to them about what their needs were and what our needs were. The good thing is that the Orioles have a long legacy of being a classic type, you know, gentleman's type of a sporting team. So a lot of people come to work with the O's already knowing that it's a team of strict tradition and honorability, and they try to maintain that as a coaching staff as well and adjust to whatever we need to. And it's good communication, you know, just telling them, being real and honest with them, I need to, you know, fix the field. Please move sometimes, right?
All right, great. Thank you. And do you have time for 2 more questions?
I
Nicole?
have plenty of time. I'm not doing anything like everybody else. We're all kind of, this is my entertainment.
Thomas Smith, I saw your hand was up again.
What do you like, Trey Mancini? No. Do you know Trey Mancini?
I do know Trey Mancini, and everybody needs to think really good, positive thoughts for him because he's battling or recovering from cancer right now. So everybody think about Trey. He's going to be fine. He's in recovery, but he had some colon cancer.
I'm going to pray for him.
Thank you for praying for him and his family. So he needs all the strength and prayers and thoughts because we need him back on our field healthy and ready to go, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's a young kid that's going to have a lot of years with the Orioles in the future, and he's just getting better and better each year. It's amazing to watch him.
Thanks, Thomas. Jim Downs, I thought you had your hand up. Do you want to ask a question?
Yeah. How do you determine the patterns on the field?
So we have a special tradition where my assistants, they get to have a moment to pick the pattern that they want for opening day. So the opening day pattern is a special gift to them to be able to create and implement on the field. Once that's done, we go through the next 4 patterns and decide which one is going to be the easiest to maintain depending on how long of a home series there is. So if there's a 3-game homestand where the teams play in Toronto and then they go out of town for a few weeks or a week and a half, we'll put in a very detailed pattern like a diamond cuts, something very intricate to the eye. And if it's a very long homestand, like 10 days in a row, we'll put an easy pattern in like a foul line pattern with just straight stripes because we know it's not going to take a lot of wear and tear. And we're just trying to protect the turf from all that action on the field, if that makes sense.
Great. Thank you, Jim. And Sam Livingston.
First, I think my friend Stephanie asked the question too. Stephanie Stein. Can you let her go first? Ladies first.
Ladies first. Let me get down to Stephanie. Unmute Stephanie. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Nicole. I want to thank you for tonight and doing this for us. And do you have a mission statement for the Orioles like we do for Special Olympics?
Well, we used to have a mission statement, but that used to go out every year to all the employees, but things have changed a little bit. But our mission is to make it fan-friendly first and foremost, and just be there for the fans and make it a welcoming atmosphere for the fans. And then also mainly to treat each other with respect, especially like when we're on the field, hold our standards high and be kind and nice to everybody. And just try to, and that we're all in this together, you know, like the highs and lows of being a good team and now being kind of bottom of the barrel team that everybody thinks we are. Just getting through this together and have support for each other.
Thank you, Stephanie. All right, Sam.
All right. I just want to, I think it's, since it's about to end, can we unmute everybody so we can all give her a round of applause, please?
No, well, thank you.
We can. Okay, everybody, you are unmuted. Round of applause.
That's it, my fake hat tip.
I want to say something.
Here's my bobblehead that everybody needs to view. Look,
Cute.
You're going it. Okay. That's funny.
Come on, eBay.
All right.
Chris?
Thank you. And when we get
Hey, you.
when we get baseball up and running, you guys have to come and be my special guests and help me on the field, okay?
Okay.
I'll be here.
Yeah, Nicole, I'll help.
I think you got lots of helpers, Nicole. Here.
Okay. Hey guys. Oh man, we should do this every night. I like this.
We do it every night, buddy.
Okay. All right. So should I hang up?
So yeah, just a big thank you, Nicole, again. What a great time. So many good questions. Really appreciate it. And we are rooting for the start of the season as well. So go O's.
Yes, go O's, and get outside and cut your grass. It's fun. Learn about all the grass and fun weeds that are out there lurking in your yard. Okay.
Perfect. We'll be ready for our time on the field.
Okay. See y'all.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. See ya.